Oun Abbas Hussain here for Seconds Out, here with Nathan Heaney. Nathan, we're here, we're in the bubble. We're one day away from fight night. How's life? How's life treating you?
Yeah, very good, mate. I've weighed in earlier, weighed in nice. Got probably the best I've ever weighed in, to be honest, the easiest at least. But yeah, now I've got a bit of food in me. I'm feeling good and looking forward to tomorrow.
What's your go-to food after the weigh-in?
I go for sweet first, so I've gone for some sugar puffs first, then some pancakes, then some little French fancies, and then I'll move to more savoury, so I've got the pizzas ready soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. Fighting under sort of COVID circumstances that we're in at this present time, behind closed doors, no fans in at this time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, because we know that you bring a huge following from Stoke. How do you think it's going to go down on Saturday night without your fans?
It'll be very strange without my guys there, especially when I walk out to Delilah. Hopefully they turn the music up because they're going to hear me singing with a terrible singing voice. But still, it's going to be weird because the noise that my guys bring is very unique. But I have got a job to do. It's going to be gutting not having them there, and they do push me on. They really do. But I've got to have them in my head and just imagine they're there. And just when the times if times do get tough in there, so I dig deep and concentrate on my opponents and see what the deal is. But I will miss the guys, as a fighter, you got to say it's not going to make a difference. But I am going to miss my guys because I've got a job to do. So at the end of the day, whatever happens, I've got to do a good job.
Obviously, this card's gone under a few sort of tests. We know that Frampton and Herring were headlining this card. Frampton hurt his hand. And then we've got Leon Woodstock, who tested positive for COVID just the other day. He sort of pushed everyone up the order. Now you're on a higher slot than you're going to be, and more eyes are going to be on you. I think you're just under Tommy Fury, so yeah. There's going to be a lot more eyes on yourself. You fought on BT Sport before. Just talk to me. Is there any pressure coming into this fight?
No, we spoke before. There's the pressure is always there. Really, as a competitive athlete, whether you always want to do well, and especially when everyone's going to be watching at home because no one can be there in person. And obviously, I've got a great crowd. I've got people like me walk on and stuff, but they want to see how I can do as a fighter. Like you say, I boxed on BT Sport before, but I wasn't a Queensberry fighter. Whereas this time, I am a Queensberry fighter. I'm one of the boys, so it's very important that I do put a good show on. And the pressure could be there, but I've just got to enjoy it. And I think from Monday onwards, I started to get excited. Whereas I was a bit nervous before, but just obviously the prep and stuff, and you feel tired as you come along. But now I feel bang on and fresh, and I am excited.
I wanted to actually ask you, we saw Josh Warren fight the other week, and we know that he brings in this huge crowd from Leeds, and he sort of gets spurred on by that, and unfortunately it didn't go his way on the night. Do you believe that the fans can have that much of an impact? I'm not saying Josh only lost because of I've got to give credit to his opponent Mauricio Lara, but do you believe that can have a big impact?
I think it could do. I don't know. He seems quite an extroverted person, but when he did his walk on it, it seemed quite awkward. I don't think he seemed as comfortable as what. I mean, I might be the same, but I don't think I will. But he seemed a bit awkward, and not only that Lara was the wrong fight, especially for the tactics it used in terms of exchanging with him when the guys knocked so many people out. It was a dangerous fight, but the crowd could play a massive difference. I haven't got a clue yet. I haven't experienced it, but I'll soon find out tomorrow. So,
for people that haven't seen you, what sort of style do you bring into the ring?
I predominantly a boxer. I like keeping it long range. I don't like making it messy. I think that makes for good fights, really, because I'm keeping the range. It makes my opponents have the range. So the styles clash whichever fighter I have. So I like throwing fast shots. I've got a reasonably good work rate, and I think I'm a reasonably exciting fighter when I do things properly. So yeah, but let's say a box fighter, because I can mix up if I need to. But my coach likes me to work behind my jab and do things correctly.
What brought you into boxing? We know boxing's a brutal sport. It's it's not something that every person would want to be in a ring taking punches or giving punches. But what spurred you on to get into the ring?
Yeah, my dad got me into boxing as a young boy. I was 9 years old when I first went to the gym. He was a former amateur boxer himself, had 50 fights. And he got me involved. And so, really, I was forced into boxing. I loved it. I did enjoy it. But it was never my passion. Growing up, I was a goalkeeper in football. And then somehow I started playing out. And I wasn't very good at football, but then all of a sudden I started getting addicted and obsessed with it. And I wanted to become a footballer. But then I realised at the age of 17, that wasn't going to happen. And I was still boxing the whole time. And then I watched Gavin win the gold, Frankie Gavin win the gold medal in the World Amateur Championships. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I want to fight for my country. So that became my obsession then, to like fight for my country, win the nationals, and then ultimately get signed by Frank Warren. It was the main one at the time, and still is one of the main ones. But at the time, Frank Warren was the man. So yeah, and then I just ended up, that became my passion then. I never won the nationals. I did well, like it, but then obviously retired at 26, turned pro. No, at 25, turned pro at 27, and then now I'm here. So I still achieved what I wanted to. I just had to go the long route doing it.
I want to ask you though, not a lot of fighters can bring in fans, especially this early in your career. You're quite still very early in your career. What's been the catalyst towards that?
I get asked that quite a few times. I really don't know. Like, they just back me. I think I've just got some of the most loyal people you could ever have supporting you. They bring their friends, then their friends become loyal, and they bring their friends. And not only that, my guys create such an atmosphere as well. It sort of sells itself, and it's like the boxing is great. People love the fights, but it's the atmosphere, especially at the King's Hall in Stoke, which has been my local venue for I think 7 of my 10 fights. So yeah, it's something you have to be there to experience. And once people go there, they'll tell their friends. It's just snowballed. And I was thinking, I don't think I've ever seen anyone in Stoke after 10 fights have this kind of backing, to be honest. So I am very fortunate.
Just talking about boxing at this present time, then, who do you sort of watch at this present time that excites you in the world?
At present time, it's a bit weird. I've really been looking back in time.
Okay.
Like, it sounds weird as a boxer, but Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. I've been loving his stuff. Like, I can't believe I never watched him. Didn't realise how defensively good he was. I just thought he was a brawler, but he was actually defensively very good. I love Golovkin. Vasyl Lomachenko was one of my idols, still is. Obviously, he's just dropped off the radar, and all of a sudden he's a hype job, even though he's amazing, just because he lost that one fight. But yeah, there's loads of different fighters I like looking at, but usually it's the fast-paced guys that throw fast combinations and use angles and stuff that I usually like the most.
I was going to ask actually, but you've actually answered it, that I speak to a lot of fighters. Not every fighter watches or studies boxing, but it seems from what you're saying, you sort of watch it quite intensely, and you sort of study it as well.
Yeah, I watch it like my coach Steve Woodfine. He is obsessed with boxing. Like, if someone watches boxing, that's the man. Okay, but I do love studying it. I love watching like clips on Instagram and stuff. There's loads of different channels you can follow where they break down certain fighters, and you'll pick little things up here and there from them. I mean, you can't copy everyone because you won't be your own fighter, but there are certain attributes that you can take from different fighters, like a solid jab movement and so on.
Nathan, in an ideal 2021, how many times do you want to be out?
I'd like to be out at least another 2 times. So I'd like 3 fights this year, ideally. So where that's at, I don't know. Whether I can headline somewhere at Stoke, or I haven't got a clue what the plans are just yet. But hopefully, if I put a good performance on tomorrow, then we can have some good talks and see what Frank Warren and the team have for me.
And in your head, when you sort of signed with Frank, was there a plan put in place on when if you win a certain amount of fights, to push yourself for a certain title or anything like that?
No. I just kept taking each fight as it comes and took every opportunity that comes to me. Like for the Midlands title, when that was offered to me, there was some stuff that went on at the time that most fighters would never have taken that fight, and I took the fight the day after the stuff that had happened. So I don't think I've missed a beat in the sport so far. I fought for the Midlands area title on my 7th fight. I fought for the IBO Continental in my last one. And I think it's just, I've just taken all the opportunities I can, really. And what's happened now is just a byproduct of the amount of support I've got and me boxing well as well.
Cool. What do you want to say to the fans who unfortunately not going to be there on Saturday night, but going to be tuning in on BT Sport? What do you want to say to them?
My guys know what I think about them anyway. They're amazing people. The people from Stoke-on-Trent, obviously, I just want to say thank you. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am now. Because there's a lot of good fighters in the country. I consider myself a good fighter, but there's not many people with the support that I've got, and that's why that's why I've been highlighted, because of these guys. But it's now for me to say thank you to them and put a performance on Saturday to show that I belong here as a fighter. And I wish they were here. I'm gutted they're not, but I will have them in my head as well. So I'll be imagining the noise, and hopefully I'll make them proud.
Nathan, for the people that want to follow your journey on social media, or what social media platforms are you on, and what handles do you got? Yeah,
so I'm on Insta, Facebook and Twitter. Twitter was a later one. But so Facebook's just Nathan Hitman Heaney. Instagram, Hitman Nathan, that might be Nathan Heaney or Hitman_Heaney, and then Twitter is just Nathan Heaney.
Okay, cool. Well, good luck on Saturday night. Pleasure talking to yourself for the first time, and hopefully we speak to yourself after the fight as well.
Thank you very much, man.
Top man, Nathan. Appreciate that.
Star.